but it might just be the time to sing, "There's a sweet, sweet spirit in this place tonight." So, all right. We're going to get down to the very last message of this and move on just a little bit. Move into the life of David. Going to look at the chapters 15, 16, and 17 of 1 Samuel. That's what we're dealing with on Wednesday nights in the house of David. So this will give you some added background to that. And it's quite, there's a lot in there that we don't get from just a TV show. So, going to move right along. Going to review. Last week we ended with, we're in the millennial kingdom. And Wanda, who's not here tonight, I don't think Wanda's here tonight, brought up a great question. And I said, you're paying attention, so that's good. But she asked regarding the judgment of the nations, and in my words, were the criteria for entering into the kingdom was the way that you treated who? Israel during that time. The sheep on the right, the goats on the left. The goats, their judgment or their final judgment was based on the way they treated Israel in their persecution during the tribulation period. And this was at the beginning of the millennial kingdom. But what I did not say, explicitly I guess, I did not say that those folks were saved. But we went back and we looked at the scriptures again, and Matthew in chapter number 25, you don't have to turn there and it won't be on the screen. But Jesus says in verse number 37, "Then the righteous shall answer him." And I think that gives us all we need to know about the spiritual state of those Gentiles who helped the Jewish people in the tribulation period. Then the righteous will answer him back and say, "When did we do all these things for you?" So I wanted to clear that up in case you were maybe wondering the same thing. Is salvation a requirement to enter the kingdom? It's a given, because you can see in the world today, I don't know why people would help Israel without that salvation experience. It just doesn't seem to be interesting to people to be of assistance to the Jewish people if you're not saved. So, wanted to clear that up before we go. We're going to look at Isaiah chapter number 2. You can turn there in your Bibles once again if you want to. We'll look at the conditions really quickly of the millennial kingdom. We'll look at its ruler. We'll look at its responsibility. We will look at its rebellion or failure. And then we'll look at what comes next. And it's interesting, all this is kind of tying together what everybody's been talking about, what Tom's been talking about, what heaven's going to be about. It just all seems to be fitting together tonight, and that was not planned. Isaiah chapter number 2 and verse number 2 and we'll go through number 4. Just a little bit about the description of the kingdom. Verse number 2, "And it shall come to pass that in those days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and the nations shall flow to it." That answers the question. This is a physical place. This is not something that's spiritualized or allegorized. It is physical. We're talking literal mountains. Literal nations will travel up to Jerusalem to see Jesus. Verse number 3, and many shall go and say, "Come, let us go unto the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob." That tells us there will be a temple. Ezekiel 40 through 48 describes that temple for you in great detail, and it tells us that it's actually going to be about 10 miles north of where it is today. But the city itself will be expanded. The land will be changed. So like I always said, people say, if I don't see Jerusalem here, then I'll just see it on the other side. And while you'll probably see a better one, you won't see it like it is today, because it will be changed drastically. He says he will teach us his ways. There will be teaching. There will be instruction. There will be guidance, counsel. We're going to talk in just a minute about the spirit of counsel. And we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Verse number 4, "And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people." Now the folks that go into the millennial kingdom are saved. But they will what? Have lots and lots and lots and lots of children. They will go in their mortal bodies. They will enter into the kingdom in their mortal bodies, and they will have children. And sin is still present. It will be dealt with. He will judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares. There will be no more war. There will be no more national conflicts, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, and we shall study or learn war no more. So you will not have international conflict. We'll have world peace. It's not happening until Jesus comes. Peace in the Middle East is not happening until Jesus comes. It's just, we are so depraved as a human race. We will not allow ourselves to get out of the way and let that area live in peace. People will always be fighting over it. If you will turn, let's see here, I closed the presentation. Hold on, I closed it out. Go to chapter number 11, verses 6 through 9. We're going to be back in chapter 11 in just a few minutes. The wolf shall also dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf, and the young lion, and the fatling together, and a little child will lead them. We'll actually just stop right there. But it will be that nature will seem to be reverting back to the way it was in the Garden of Eden. Paradise. It will be a marvelous place to live. People will not live in fear. You have the child leading around a lion, so to speak, and the cow and the bear shall feed, and their young ones shall lie down together. There is no more carnivorous animals. Things are reverting back. You think God can handle that? You think God can make it okay if they've got big old sharp teeth and not eating meat? I think He can handle that. Quickly, if you have you can go ahead and turn to Isaiah chapter number 65. This will get us just a few more characteristics of the millennial kingdom. And verse number 20. And it says this: there shall be no more an infant of days. I want you to think about that in the millennial kingdom, just how good that's going to be. There will be no more accidental child death. There will be no more accidental child death. There will be no more an infant of days, nor an old man that has not filled his days. For the child, for one that dies as 100 will be as a child, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. Again, we have the sin being brought up there. And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for trouble. For they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. There will be work. There will be work. It was almost a perfect world, right? Till work. No. There will be work. It will be work that is, it will be righteous work. It will be done and rewarded correctly. And we will, well, not us, but those inhabitants will enjoy the fruits of their labor. So you get an idea that the millennial kingdom is going to be a fantastic place. And there are many other descriptions of many other things that will happen inside the millennial kingdom, that time frame. There will be no Satan. Revelation tells us he will be bound 1,000 years. The presence of Satan will not be experienced during that time. That would be nice, wouldn't it? We know there's not going to be national war, so we know he's not going to be manipulating things behind the scenes and moving this nation against this nation. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be a great, great time. But there is still a responsibility on the part of the inhabitants of the millennial kingdom. Let's turn back. Let's go back to Isaiah chapter number 11. we're going to look at 3 through 5. That's what you'll see on the screen. The verses aren't there, but the verses are listed there. But I want to look at 1 and 2 as well. And I guarantee you there's one thing you may learn tonight that you may not have known before, just because the words are nowhere near related. But it says here, and there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of its roots. Does anybody have a picture of what that may look like in that particular verse? I'll read it again. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of its roots. Well, who was Jesse? David's father. And out of that, a branch shall grow out of its roots. At the time that this is going to be taking place, the kingdom of David is long. Well, at the time Jesus is born anyway, the kingdom is long gone. There is no kingdom. And basically all that would be left of that kingdom, if it were compared to a forest or a tree, would just be a what? A stump. Just a stump left there. And then out from that old dead stump shall grow a branch. And that branch is the Messiah. And in my Bible, it's capitalized there. So, yes, that's correct. Verse number 2. This is important. You often hear about the 7 characteristics of the Spirit of the Lord. I wouldn't say there are only 7, but there are 7 listed here. Listen to this. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him. The Spirit of wisdom. Well, first of all, the Spirit of the Lord will be dwelling on him, and also the Spirit of wisdom. In the kingdom, it said the law will go out from Jerusalem. Wisdom. He is full of wisdom. And we often don't take from that wisdom. We often say, well, I said this morning in Sunday school, I'm waiting on a word from the Lord. I'm just waiting. But we already have it. I'm waiting to know what to do in this situation, but we already have it. I'm waiting to decide if this particular thing is right or wrong, but we already know. Wisdom will flow forth, and understanding. This was interesting as I was looking at these words. This one kind of stuck out to me, and it's probably the one I'll focus on as far as going a little bit deeper. But understanding in the Hebrew has a connection to one of your 5 senses. Which one do you think it is? It's actually the sense of smell. It's interesting. It's the sense of smell, which basically has the idea that he can sniff out the hypocrite in the kingdom. So while outward sin will not be something that is seen very much, it is still the responsibility of every person born in the millennial kingdom to have the inward recognition and acceptance of the lordship of Jesus Christ, and not just an outward following of the law. There will be an outward following of the law, because he will deal with sin swiftly, harshly. I've said this many times, when he would rule with a rod of iron. As a kid, I thought he had a literal rod of iron just ready and waiting to knock anybody upside the head that messed up. That's how I pictured that as a child. But he will put an end to outward sin, but there is still the inward rebellion that will be happening, even in this perfect world that will be there for them. The Spirit of counsel. Is he not a pretty good counselor? Does he not give good advice? Pretty good, yes. And might, he is mighty. The Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. Especially in his earthly ministry, he operated as any human should, with reverence and awe and respect and fear of his Father, Almighty God. This is a healthy fear, that respect, that reverence that is due him. And this is 3 through 5. We'll describe some things here. And shall make of him quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, nor the hearing of his ears. What does that mean? He will not judge after the sight of his eyes or the hearing of his ears. Well, I look at it as he's not going to base things solely on what could be interpreted as false information. Do you ever judge with your eyes? Do you ever judge wrongly with your eyes? Do you ever judge incorrectly with your ears? Working at school long enough, and you'll find kids hear the same story and they hear it 14 different ways. But he will judge in righteousness. Everything will be assured that it is the right way that it should be. He shall judge the poor and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. Then he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips he shall slay the wicked. Verse number 5. And the righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and the faithfulness the girdle of his reins. Righteousness and fair judgment are so close to Jesus. It's as he is wearing them as a garment. It describes him. It is him. The responsibility of man in this age is to look upon the one on the throne and admit he is Lord. That's the responsibility. It's the same responsibility we have today, except we don't have him physically sitting on the earth. But the same responsibility, the same criteria is there. They must accept him. And you know what? There's going to be a great big old failure. Lots of people are not going to do it. If you'll turn to Revelation chapter number 20. Revelation chapter 20, verse number 7. You're going to see that even after all this perfect world has to offer, the king ruling and reigning on the throne, sin being dealt with swiftly, being dealt with harshly, being dealt with righteously, that man will still ultimately turn on him. Verse number 7, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan will be loosed out of his prison. And he shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as of the sand of the sea. So there's going to be a lot of people born in this time. And there will be a lot of people rebelling. Yes?
So this army that Satan is gathering are going to be people in the millennial kingdom.
Yes. And who are they going to battle? The only one that's got a kingdom at that point. If you want somebody's kingdom, you got to take out the king. And they'll come together to battle. And when they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about and the beloved city, and fire came down out of heaven and devoured them. Be a bad way to go. Be a very bad way to go. Fire burning as a physical death, immediately entering into fire for eternity. And verse number 10, and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and forever.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding, I don't know, but how are these people going to be tempted if Satan is bound?
He will be loosed.
No, in the millennial kingdom.
At the end of the 1,000 years.
But during the millennial kingdom, he'll be bound.
Yes.
How can these people sin if there's no tempter?
They're not saved. That's what we're going to talk about.
Oh.
That's exactly what we're going to talk about. Hold your horses. I'll get there. No. But it's great questions. I love questions. But at the end of the millennial kingdom, he will go out and deceive many. And those that he deceives are already what? Lost. They've lived hundreds of years and never made him Lord. They may have outwardly. They may have looked like the wheat and the tares. They may have done everything they were supposed to outwardly. But inwardly, they never accepted his lordship, ever. Revelation 27 through 9 says that he will deceive many, many, more than you can count. After living in almost perfection, they will still rebel. Now, the judgment, we'll get there just a minute. The judgment, if you'll go down just a few verses, 9 through 15, 11 through 15, and at that point I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, whose face the earth and heaven fled away, or from whose face the earth and heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of the things written in the books according to their works. And the sea to the Hebrew is a place of darkness and separation. That's why you're going to see later there's no more sea. The sea is a treacherous place in the mind of the Jewish person. The sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. There is a resurrection coming for the wicked. There is a bodily resurrection that is coming for the wicked, because they're going to have a body that never, ever burns up and never, ever faints from the pain. There's no escape. A body that can endure that type of pain forever. When you've been there 10 billion years, you're no closer to the end. But it's the same on the same hand. When we've been in heaven 10 billion years, we're no closer to the end. And death and hell were cast... I skipped ahead. Death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to his works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. So, for the saved, there is a physical death. And that's it. For the lost, there is a physical death. And that final, at this judgment, that spiritual death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. The lake of fire. That is the judgment